Are you ready to play with some malware? Whew, gotta be careful, because in this video we are talking about dangerous things, malware or malicious software. And disclaimer, this is for educational purposes only. Sure, learn it, play with it, go crazy with it, but never use it for malicious purposes. In this video, we're doing two things. First, we're gonna write our very own ransomware in Python. Yeah, and it's awesome. I can't wait to show you. And also, it's kind of scary how easy it is. Like, really scary. Don't worry, you'll see. And then second, we're actually gonna download a malware library. It's literally a bunch of malware that we can play with. It's written in Python. We can do things like worms and trojans and spyware, adware, all kinds of stuff. So, get your coffee ready. Let's do this. Now, before we dive into this craziness, what do you need? First, you'll need a Linux computer or a Linux server, and preferably one you feel comfortable blowing up, like obliterating it, because you're gonna be installing malware and running it. Now, the good news is that this is crazy easy thanks to our sponsor, Linode. Let me show you real quick. I'm gonna set up my Linux box right now. I'll navigate out to linode.com/NetworkChuck, link below. Now here in Linode, I'm gonna set up my Linux server in the cloud, and it's only gonna cost me 1 penny per hour. Like legit, that's it, 1 penny. And it's crazy easy to set up, so first of all, get signed up if you don't already have an account. And by the way, if you're new, you get a $100 credit for the first 60 days, which means this will be free for you. And watch how fast this is. Create, Linode. Our image, we're gonna do Ubuntu, 2204, region, something close to me. Plan, shared CPU, Linode 1 GB. Name it, password, and create. So right now I have a Linux computer that is baking in the cloud. It's gonna be delicious. And while I'm destroying it with malware, again, it'll cost me 1 penny per hour. And once I'm done, I'll just go over here and delete it. I love how simple this is. This is why I use Linode for my labs and also my business. Look at all these Linodes I have in my business right now. It's kind of stupid how many I have. So back to our list, a Linux computer is easy with Linode. But if you already have a Linux-based computer that you're willing to destroy and blow up, use that one. That's fine, that'll work too. And the second thing you'll need is, you need coffee. Everything in IT requires coffee. NetworkChuck.coffee. Okay, step one, let's access our Linux box. Here in Linode, I'm just gonna copy my SSH root command here. Fire up command prompt here in Windows. It'll be terminal in Mac or Linux. Paste that command, accept all fingerprints, put in my password, and we're in. So our first task is we're actually going to write some ransomware in Python. Now this is gonna be crazy because ransomware is one of the most dangerous and devastating malware out there. It's taken down companies, even companies I've worked at. We spent like days and days trying to recover from malware, ransomware attacks. Because what it does is, let me show you. It'll take files, any file, and it will encrypt them or lock them up. And the only way you can access your data is if you have the key. That's my key. I'm sorry, it looks terrible. But the problem is that you don't have the key. The ransomware will go through pretty much every file it can access, which in a lot of cases is like every file on a server or a computer or a network, and it will lock it up. And what will happen is they'll say, hey, we'll give you the key, but you gotta give us some sweet, sweet cryptocurrency, some Bitcoin, some money. And once you receive that, we'll give you the key to unlock your stuff. Scary, right? Happens all the time. So why not make our own right now? Let's do it. Before we start writing some code, let's go ahead and create some files that we can attack and encrypt. So let's make a new directory, mkdir, here in Linux. We'll name that sucker ransomware, bam, and then we'll jump into that directory by doing cd ransomware. We're there. And let's create like 3 or 4 files. So we'll do echo, this is a file, and we'll output that with our directional arrow to a file, file.txt. Let's do another one, another one, and one more. Done. Another one. So now if we ls our directory, we see our 4 files there. If I cat one of those files, like let's say file.txt, I can see they do have content inside that we can read, data untouched, unencrypted. And now let's hold them for ransom. Let's encrypt those suckers right now. Here we go. So now let's start a new file, nano, and we'll name this voldemort.py or py. Bam, we've opened our file and now we're ready to edit our code. First, shebang! Did I scare you? That's our shebang, by the way. If you're like, what the junk is that? I got a video right around here somewhere you can watch and learn about it. Now our first goal in our script is to find all the files in our current directory so we can encrypt them. So we're gonna find all these files and we're gonna add them to a list. I'll start with good documentation. Coffee break. Oh, and also we have to import something into our script. We're going to import the library OS. So add that at the very top. First, let's define our list. Files equals empty list, opening and closing brackets, just like that. Then we're going to use a for loop to discover all the files in our current directory. This is really cool, watch this. So we'll say for file in os.list.dir, open and closing parentheses. And notice we're using our OS library right now, which let me show you how that works real quick. You can follow along with me if you want. I'm gonna go ahead and just save this file, Control X, Y, enter. I'm gonna jump into Python real quick. Right here in the command line, Python 3, I'm in. I'm going to import OS. And I'm gonna run that command that we just were about to use in our script. So os.list dir, open and closing parentheses. Watch what happens when I do this. Bam. And this is exactly what we want, our targets. So let's get back to our script. So for file in os.list directory, enter in tab. And by the way, if you're unfamiliar with for loops, all this is doing here is it's literally gonna go through every file that it can find in the directory, our current working directory, and do something with it. Which in our case, we're gonna add each of those files to this list. But there is a problem here we have to solve. We don't want to encrypt the file we're working on right now, voldemort.py. So we do not want to add this current Python program to the files list because we're going to encrypt and destroy all that stuff. Quickest way to solve that is with an if statement. So we'll say if file equals, and we'll just say the name of the file, voldemort.py, and then we'll tab, give some space there because space is important in Python. If you don't put the space there, it's gonna hate you. I'll just type in continue, meaning move along, don't do anything with this. And then we'll hit enter and then tab once more. We'll call the list files, and we'll use the append method, append, and we'll add file to that list. That should do it. So this will literally go through every file in our current working directory and add that to our list. Let's try it out real quick. And actually to verify it's actually happening, we need to, let's go ahead and print at the end of this, print the list, files. Cool, so Control X, Y, enter save. And to run our script real quick, we'll do Python 3 voldemort.py. Let's see what happens. Look at that, totally worked. Every file is part of that list except for the most important file, our Voldemort ransomware. Now there is one more problem and I wanna show you real quick. Here in our directory, I'm gonna actually make another directory. I'm gonna mkdir test. So now if I ls, I can see we have 5 files and a test directory. If I run that script again, Python 3 voldemort.py, look what happened. It added our files, but it also added our directory. We don't want that. We only want to encrypt files, individual files. Let's fix it real quick. It's actually a pretty easy fix. Let's jump back into our script. And here, before we add a file to our list, let's add another check. Let's add another if statement. If os.path.isFile, and we'll do open parentheses and we'll put in file, then do something. So here with our OS library, we're actually using a built-in function to determine if one of the things in our directory is a file or not. If it is a file, boom, let's do something with it. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll hit enter, tab, and here is where we'll add our files to the list. So we'll call our files list, files.append, add file. So now a file will only be added to our files list if and only if it's not voldemort.py and it is indeed a file and not a directory or anything else crazy. Let's test it out real quick. Control X, Y, enter to save. Let's run the script. Bam, that directory is not there anymore. Perfect. Now it's time to encrypt those files. So let's get back into our Python script. To encrypt the files, we're going to use a cryptography library that we're going to need to import here at the top. So go ahead and go up to the top of your script and type this in with me. From cryptography, I never can spell this right. I have to like really focus. Cryptography, I still did it wrong. There we go. .fernet, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Whoa, that was hick. Fernet. I'm from Texas, by the way. It comes out every once in a while. So from cryptography.fernet, import capital F fernet. Fernet is a very cool way to encrypt things in our Python script. Actually, Professor Bernard, go ahead and tell us about it.
Fernet is a symmetric encryption method which makes sure that the message encrypted cannot be manipulated/read without the key. It uses URL safe encoding for the keys. Fernet also uses 128-bit AES.
Okay, Bernard, that's enough. Dude, you're putting them to sleep. Anyways, let's play with it real quick. Now first, before we can encrypt our files, we need to create a key that we can use to encrypt them. So, using Fernet, let's create a key. Let's create a variable called key. Crazy, right? Key equals, and we'll use Fernet. Fernet.generate _ key, opening, closing parentheses, and that's it. And let me show you what it looks like. We'll test it out. So let's go ahead and print the key. Let's Control X, Y, enter to save. Let's run our Python script. And there it is, our new shiny key that we can use to lock up our files. So let's use it. Let's get back into our script. Now with our key, we don't want to print it out because then that'll just give the user the key. And no, we want to have them give us money, right? But we do need to save our key, right? We want to be able to unlock the files later. So let's go ahead and save that key to a file. For that, we're going to do this. Type in with, and then we're going to create a new file and write to it. So we'll use the open function, open. Then we'll do open parenthesis, and I'll create my file name with double quotes. I'll say the key. .key, closing double quote. Then I'll do a comma and I'll choose my mode I'm gonna open that file in. For this one, I'm gonna do WB for write binary. Normally this would be just W for write, but we're using binary for this one. And then closing parenthesis, and then I'll say I'm opening this as, I'll just call it the key. So if you're new to opening files and writing files and reading files in Python, what's happening here is we're using the open function to create or just simply open a file called the key.key. We're gonna open it in a specific mode, which is write mode, and we're gonna refer to it right now in our function as the key. Let's try it out real quick. Hit enter and tab, and all we're gonna do is say the key dot write, and we'll write our variable key. So remember, this is how we're referring to this file as. We're saying, hey, this file is actually called the key when we're working with this. We're saying the key, I want you to write something to it, and we're gonna write the variable key, which we define right here. It's our key, right? So right. So let's test it out and let's make sure it works. Control X, Y, enter to save. Let's run our script once more. Python 3 Voldemort Pi, bam. If we hit LS, we should have a nice new shiny file there, the key.key, there it is. And if we cat that file, cat the key, there's our key. Now we have one problem here that we have to solve though. The next time we run our Voldemort.py script, what's gonna happen to our key? Like we saved it as a file here. What do you think Voldemort's gonna do to it? He's gonna encrypt it, right? He's gonna encrypt the key with the key. And we're kind of getting into like an inception of encryption here. We can't have that. So we need to tell Voldemort to ignore our key file. So let's jump into our script once more. Now let's tell him in our filter over here, just after we tell Voldemort to ignore himself, let's say or file equals the key.key. Cool, that should save us. We should be okay with that. So we have our key. We generated it, we saved it to a file. Now let's lock up some files. We're gonna use the with open command again, except with all the files we're gonna destroy. But we're gonna do it with a for loop. So here we go, this is gonna be really fun. It's so cool. So for file and our list files, which we defined up the top. I'll do colon, enter, and tab. Let's do things to it. So here we'll say with open. So every file in that list, we're gonna with open it. The name of it is gonna be file, and we'll open it in read binary mode. Then closing double quote, closing parenthesis, and we'll open that as the file, colon, double tab. And now we're gonna save the contents of that file to a variable. And we'll just call it contents. We'll have that equal the file.read. And that's literally all we're doing. We're saying, hey, the contents of whatever file we're opening right now, save it to that variable contents. And we're using the read function on that file, or the read method rather. Now that we've opened it, let's encrypt it. So let's set a new variable. We'll say contents underscore encrypted. And we'll have that equal, here's where we actually encrypt the data. We're gonna use fornet, so type in fornet, and in parentheses we'll reference our key. This is the key we're gonna use to lock it up. And it's gonna be our key variable, the one we had set earlier, right up here when we generated the key. And then we'll do dot encrypt, and then we'll, in parentheses, reference the content, which we set as the variable contents. So this is this guy right here. Now, if you're new to Python, this is probably getting a bit hairy for you. You're like, hold on, what's happening? It's okay. Pause the video, rewind, or maybe check out my Python course right around here somewhere if you need to kind of brush up on some things. Okay, so we've opened up the file. We encrypted the content. Now we need to write that encrypted content back to the file. So we're gonna, again, do with open. We're gonna open up that same file, but this time we're gonna open it as write binary mode because we're now writing something to it. Close parenthesis, we'll say as the file, tab, and we'll say the file dot write, and we're gonna write contents underscore encrypted, which is the variable that we set right here when we encrypted the content. So this for loop right here should go through every file in our list. It'll open it, encrypt it, and then write it back to the file as an encrypted file. And at this point, it's done. Like, it's gonna do it. So let's save our file. Control X, Y, enter to save. And so let's say goodbye to our files real quick. Let's ls, let's like cat the file.txt. Right now he's just, this is a file. He says stuff, it's not encrypted. Now let's run our file, or our ransomware. Python 3 Voldemort.py, goodbye buddy. Now some things have happened. Let's cat that file again, cat file.txt. Whoa, encrypted. What was, this is a file before, is now just gobbledygook. It's nothing. Your files are locked. Can't get them back, sucker. Actually, we're gonna write a decrypt file right now. But as of now, that person's screwed. Now we do have the key, cat my key, or cat the key. That's the key to unlock it. I'll show you how to unlock it right now. So take yourself a quick coffee break. I need one. And the good news is that the decryption script you're gonna write is very similar to the encryption script. So similar that we're just gonna copy it. So right here in our terminal, type in CP for copy. We'll say Voldemort, and we'll copy it to a file we'll just call it decrypt. decrypt.py. And let's jump into that file. So nano decrypt. And obviously we're gonna have to make some changes to it. The first bit is totally okay. We're still gonna find the files. We're still gonna add them to a list. And we're still gonna ignore the files we don't need to mess with. Here are some things we're not gonna do though. First, we're not going to define a new key and then overwrite it. No, we're not gonna do that. So let's take out all that code, but we are going to need that key to unlock the files. So we're gonna have to open up that key file and set it to a variable. Let's do that right now. So we'll do a with open. We're gonna open the key file. So I'll specify that with double quotes. It's called the key.key. And we're gonna open that in read binary mode. I'll open it as key, and then we're gonna set a new variable. I'll call it secret key, and I'll have that equal key.read. Open and closing parenthesis. So what we're doing here is we're opening our key file in read binary mode. We're gonna refer to it as key, and we're gonna say, hey, we're gonna set a new variable, secret key, and have that equal the contents of that file. So now we have our key and our script. It's the key variable, or secret key variable. And with our key loaded, we can now unlock it. And really, we only have to change one thing over here. We're still gonna use a for loop to go through all our files. We're still gonna do that first step where we open the file up and read it. But right here, when we encrypt the content, this will be different. So let's scroll over to our contents encrypted. I'm gonna change that to contents decrypted and have that equal to for net, and we're gonna change the key to secret key because that's what we set our variable to. This matches this right here. And then instead of saying encrypt, we're gonna say decrypt contents. And then we'll write those decrypted contents back to the file, which we need to change that variable from contents encrypted to contents decrypted to match. Perfect, that should do it. And before we test it, there is one thing we have to do. We've defined a new file in our directory. We have decrypt.py, which is another file that we have to ignore in our script, or things will break. So up here in our filter, let's add one more or just after the key, file equals decrypt.py. Cool, so that should be ignored. Now we can test it out. So Control X, Y, enter to save. Let's verify our files are still encrypted. Catfile.txt. Yes, it's still gobbledygook, but now let's unlock it. Let's do Python 3, decrypt.py, and here comes the magic. Let's see if it worked. Let's cat that file once more. Yes, it unlocked. How cool was that? We encrypted a file and now we decrypted it. Does that not get you excited? Coffee break for you. Man, so fun. Now we're not done quite yet because we did the bones, the structure of how we do ransomware, but let's add some fun to it to make it seem like actual ransomware. So let's get back into our Voldemort file. Nano Voldemort.py. Now first we need to add our filter for the decrypt file so it doesn't decrypt our decrypt script. So we'll do or file equals decrypt.py. Let's just add some fun print language here. Like at the very end of our script, we'll say print all of your files have been encrypted. Send me 100 Bitcoin or I'll delete them in 24 hours. Dun, dun, dun. Cool, so Control X, Y, enter to save. Right now, let's just verify real quick. Let's make sure all our files are decrypted. Let's do catfile2.txt. Looks great. Catfile, or no, we'll do please don't hurt me. All decrypted. Now let's encrypt it again. Let's run our Voldemort file, or script. Here we go. All of your files have been encrypted. And actually at this point, we set a new key too. So let's cat those files again. They're encrypted again. So cool. And now let's add a bit of fun to our decryption file. Let's jump in there, nano decrypt. And let's make them have a secret password that they have to enter for the script in order to decrypt their files. And we'll do that with a simple if statement. So first let's set a secret phrase. We'll say secret phrase equals, obvious, right? Coffee. And then we'll ask them to enter the secret phrase. So we'll create a new variable called user phrase, have that equal input, enter the secret phrase to decrypt your files. I'll do a \n to give some space there, make it look pretty. Close that input statement out. So here we set a secret phrase, it's coffee. Then we're asking them to enter a secret phrase. Now let's evaluate it. We'll use an if statement. If user phrase equals secret phrase, then you know what we'll do is we'll nest our decryption underneath it. So let's back that sucker up, tab it underneath. We'll actually have to tab everything over once to make it look like so. Because again, spacing is extremely important in Python. So now, with our new script, their files will only be decrypted if their secret phrase, which is the user phrase they enter, matches our secret phrase, which is coffee. So let's try it out. First, I'll enter a wrong one. Actually, hold on. I want to give them the congratulations at the end if they get it right. I'll print, congrats. Your files are decrypted. Enjoy your coffee. And then I'll do an else. Print, sorry, wrong secret phrase. Send me more Bitcoin. Cool, that should do it. All right, Control X, Y, enter to save. Our files are still encrypted. Let me just check. Yep, still encrypted. Clear my screen. Let's run our decryption file. Python 3 decrypt.py. Enter the secret phrase. Let's get it wrong. Let's do like T or something. Sorry, wrong phrase. Send me more Bitcoin. Let's see if our files got decrypted. Cat file.txt. Nope, still encrypted. Let's try it again, but they sent me enough Bitcoin and now they have the right password. Python 3 decrypt.py. Type in coffee. I just realized that I put the print statement within the for loop, so it printed it 4 times. Oh well, who doesn't want to be told to enjoy their coffee 4 times? It still works. So now let's see if it happened. Totally worked. Yes, everything's working. So at this point, you just wrote some ransomware using Python. Now, yes, this is simple. Typical ransomware does get much more complex, but at the bones of it, this is how it works. I mean, this does work. Isn't this scary and also cool? So don't do it to anybody, please. Like maybe as a joke to your friends and family, but like make sure everything's recoverable and backed up. Just like, but it's fun though, right? It's cool. Now part 2, as promised, we're gonna download a malware library that we can play with and learn more about other types of malware. Let me show you real quick what it looks like. It's a fantastic GitHub repository called Malware Showcase from this guy right here, Patrick, however you say that last name. And it shows you fantastic usable examples of adware, droppers, file infections, ransomware, spyware, Trojan worms. It's pretty cool. So let me show you how to get it going real quick. All we're gonna do is first, I'll have this link below. We'll copy the link to his GitHub. I'm gonna cd ... into my home directory. Yes, I'm home. And I'm going to git clone, paste that repository, and just like that, malware downloaded. Now to have fun with this, there are 2 things you gotta do. First, make sure you have pip3 installed, which is what we're gonna use with Python to install additional libraries. And then we're gonna actually install some requirements using pip. So I'm gonna do that right now, actually. I'm gonna do a quick sudo apt update to update my repositories. And we'll do sudo apt install python 3 -pip. We'll do a -y at the end, and that'll install pip3 for us. Go, coffee break. Done, all right. Now if we do an ls, we'll see that we have a new directory called Malware Showcase. Let's go ahead and jump in there. cd Malware Showcase. If we ls that directory, we got a few things going on. Before we play with it, we want to install our requirements, and here's how we'll do it. Type in pip3 install -r and then requirements.txt. It'll go through that text file, look at all the stuff it wants to install, and actually install it. Go ahead and hit enter, and another coffee break. And that should be it. So if we ls that directory, we can jump into each of those. So for example, cd file infection, if I ls that, I can see we have some example target files and target folders, and also an infector.py file, the actual script we're going to run. So if I jump in there real quick, actually, nano infector.py, there's some fancy advanced Python in here, using things like classes and functions. But what's cool is it shows you how this kind of stuff works. So you can dissect it and learn it for yourself. And of course, we can run it too. So if I can jump into the README, I'll less the README file. Great README files that'll tell you exactly how things work. Hit Q to exit that, and then I can run the file, python 3 infector.py, and it ran. So I'm not gonna show you every one of these, just feel free to go crazy and play with it. And please only play with it if you're using a throwaway Linux box like we just did in Linode. Otherwise, they do show you how to set up a virtual environment, a Python virtual environment with env. But yeah, malware is crazy and scary and also pretty fun. The purpose of this video was to help you understand kind of how it works and how it's written in code. We got to do some really fun stuff in Python, and we wrote our own ransomware, which is just cool. You can tell your friends and your coworkers and your mom that you wrote ransomware today. Congrats. It's a good day today. You accomplished something. Just please don't use it against somebody. This is for educational purposes only. Don't hurt anybody. Don't be evil. Isn't that Google's, isn't that Google's, like, what's the word for it? Slogan? Yeah. I don't know, just don't be evil. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for learning some malware programming with me, and I'll catch you guys next time. Oh, and by the way, speaking of hacking, have you hacked the YouTube algorithm today? Let's make sure you do. Hit that like button, notification bell, comment, subscribe. You gotta hack YouTube today. Ethically, of course. Yeah, for real. I'll catch you guys next time.